Hello and welcome to this episode of Low Carb in the Leaves with me, Dr. Mary Barson, and my dog in the background. Okay, hi guys. So yesterday I spoke again about this concept we use a lot about the circle of control, that truly all that we can control in life is ourselves. And I wanted to extend this theme out to discuss something that comes up a lot with our wonderful people, which is the fear of missing out, FOMO, and how FOMO can really play with our minds and get in our way, especially if our goal is to choose good food, to improve our relationship with food, to use food to nourish our bodies rather than using food for entertainment, for consolation, for a comfort, then the fear of missing out can really get to you. And I'm going to talk about two ways in which this can play out, and little ways in which we can manage our minds and our circle of control to overcome FOMO and allow ourselves to stay on track. Okay, so here's one way in which I think we should definitely exert ourselves to just kind of ignore the FOMO or understand what's going on with our brains. So if you're in a supermarket and you're doing your shopping and you're shopping around the perimeter of the supermarket, because you are nourishing your body with low carb, real food, but you notice with the big flashy advertising that there's a brand new flavour of Cadbury Easter egg that you've never seen before, and your brain will start ticking over. I've never seen that before. It's only going to be there for a little while. This is my only opportunity to taste this Cadbury Easter egg. It's not going to be here in a few months' time. And you will start to think of all these reasons why you should buy the bag of crappy, sugary, processed junk, because you don't want to miss out on whatever crappy Cadbury Easter egg that this is, chemical-laden nonsense. So in this instance, I think it would be very reasonable to just take a moment and pause and not give in to the FOMO, because in truth, I would argue that a crappy chemically new flavoured Cadbury's Easter egg is really not that exciting, and you're really not missing out on anything that important, life-changing, nourishing, positive if you buy the bag of Easter eggs and eat it. And indeed, if you bought the bag of Easter eggs and eat it, you'd probably realise that they don't taste that good. They're quite chemically and yucky, and you feel a bit crappy after eating all that sugar. Now, to understand, we humans are always going to have FOMO, the fear of missing out. That's just how our brains work. We are genetically primed to want to be included. We're genetically primed to feel like we are part of the tribe, and we don't want to miss out on anything that the tribe is missing out on. And from an evolutionary point of view, this makes complete sense. We are social creatures, and throughout our evolution, our survival depended on our peers, on the people in our tribe, in our community. And if they didn't like us, or if we were not a part of that, then our chances of survival were severely impaired. So over millions of years, there has been this genetic selection to want to be included, to want to be involved, and to not miss out. And Anna Christina said, marketing mischief. That's right. Manufacturers will exploit this I don't want to miss out part of our genetic makeup. And if you hate your internal FOMO, that it's just kind of too bad. We're always going to have it. It's just part of being a human. But I'm going to tell you another part of being a human that we can actually use for our benefit here, for these not really for when we fear that we're missing out on something that logically we're not really missing out on. You know, a new flavour of Easter eggs is not that exciting. A new flavour of Smith chips is not that amazing. You know, eating the bread with our cafe breakfast is not that exciting. So another part of our brain is that we have this thing called a negativity bias. It means that we really, really hang on to the negative comments, especially about ourselves. You may have heard that saying, you need to hear 10 good things about yourself to counteract one bad thing. Our brains are like Teflon for the bad. Are like Velcro. This is the saying. Our brains are like Velcro for the bad and Teflon for the good. So the bad things that we hear just stick into our brain and really, really stay there. And all the good things we hear, we just let them bounce off us. And that, again, is a survival strategy that our brains have developed. We need to be accepted by the group. We need to be part of the community. And so we work really, really hard to make sure that we, from a survival point of view, that we fit in, that we please people, that we're not, pissing too many people off. That gave us a survival advantage. So we all have this negativity bias. We just do. We might not like it, but it's there and we need to learn to work with it. And there's it's kind of a good trick that you can use with your negativity bias is you can sort of flip it back out. And when you see the crappy sugary laden junk that is, that with its bright shiny sign saying, I'm new, eat me, eat me, eat me, just say to yourself, that won't taste good. Just use your own negativity bias and push it outwards. Just already convince yourself, no, that will be disappointing. I will be disappointed by that. If you're out at a party and you plan to stay, eat just the low carb foods that are available, and out comes the cake, just say to yourself, it'll be disappointing. It won't taste that good. And you can harness your own natural human negativity to help avoid FOMO. So there's that. That is a great way, I think, to avoid the fear of missing out when indeed you're not actually missing out on anything other than to poison yourself with some sugary junk. And then there's another scenario. It would have been a couple of years now when people were doing international travel. So this is back, I think it's 2018. I had a lovely patient, a 65-year-old woman who was going great guns with her lifestyle change. She'd lost about 35 kilos and reversed her fatty liver. She was doing amazing. She still had about another 30 kilos to go till she was at sort of her goal weight where she would sort of be healthier with mobility and things. But she was doing amazing, absolutely amazing. And she booked a European holiday, one of those amazing European holidays, including like 2 river cruises. She was just going everywhere throughout Europe for like 2 months. And she came and saw me before she left. She was really worried about how on earth could she travel through Europe and stay on plan. She basically thought that her choices were to ignore all the food, to have a really crappy holiday and not enjoy herself, or to completely throw in the towel, gain a whole lot of weight and go back to square one with her health. Like, she sort of thought they were the 2 options and was quite distressed about not knowing which one to choose. So we had a chat and together came up with a different plan, which was this, that if she was in a situation where there was something that was off plan, beer, Guinness, chocolate, pastry, whatever, and it really was genuinely an opportunity to enrich her travel experience, something that she was unlikely to get to do again, that was going to make an awesome entry in her travel journal. That was the metric we used. Will this make a fabulous entry in my travel journal? In which case, just eat it or drink it, I think that would be perfectly reasonable. And then stay on plan most of the time. So we came up with this plan where she's going to avoid snacking, and breakfasts were easy to control. So breakfasts were going to be on plan. Dinners were going to be on plan as much as she could. But if she was in a situation where, and so for example, she was in Belgium having a tour of an ancient Belgian beer factory. Did she drink the beer? Of course she did. She was in Paris having a wonderful time, and she went to a fantastic old cafe and she had tarte du chocolat and cafe au lait. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. When she was in Galway, she had, the oysters and chips. She had Guinness in Ireland. She had fish and chips in really famous old restaurants, so old pubs in the UK. All fine. And the most of the time, she stayed on plan. So she was moderating her fear of missing out. And she realised that, she may only genuinely have an opportunity to have tarte du chocolat and cafe au lait in a beautiful old Parisian cafe once, maybe twice in her life. But she didn't then need to just eat baguettes for lunch because they were easy. She could exert herself to stay on plan the rest of the time. And she had a great time. And when she got back, she had gained a little bit of weight, but only a little bit. But what she had gained, far more than that, was the knowledge that she could manage her fear of missing out in these new and novel situations, and that she could sort of deviate a little bit off plan and then get back onto plan. And her holiday was much richer for it. All right, guys, that's my fear of missing out stories. Have an absolutely wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.